No, that's not what he meant. No, this is a mistake. It's big. Avocado! Enemigo del cartel! Enemigo del cartel! No!
DBA, because I'm not going to be practicing under the name McGill, so.
Shouldn't be a problem. Just down the hall, we have all the floors.
Great.
Wait, Jimmy, what?
Saul Goodman.
I recently started watching Twin Peaks for the first time. It was a show I always wanted to see in its entirety, but I just never had the time to. Although this wasn't the first time I came upon this world and characters, since I have already seen Twin Peaks A Return and Fire Walk With Me. This uncommon view order created a completely different experience, making me care more about the journey rather than the end. Knowing who killed Laura Palmer, knowing which characters make it into the return, and the answer to many of the mysteries, says the need to wonder what happens to characters that aren't in the return, as well as being a step forward to what would happen to them. And more than anything, incentivate the fear of what happens to these characters, having a sense of constant, utter anxiety. Of course, this experience isn't exclusive to Twin Peaks, nor even television, since you can basically do the same thing with any long-running film franchise. But I would say that with a TV show, since you spend more time with the characters, and you wait longer for their outcome, there is a constant omnipresent fear that is blowing in the wind, that in each upcoming episode slowly grabs the character's skin, as the wind gets stronger and louder. Better Call Saul may be a clear example of mastering this technique and using it to its full advantage. I know that the show isn't over yet, but having seen the culmination of its 5th season, I just couldn't wait for the show's next and final one. More than anything, I couldn't stop thinking about it. The last few episodes were just fucking great, making all the slow and slight build-up from the previous seasons pay off in a masterful way.
Yo sí sé.
This doesn't mean that the other seasons are bad. No, of course they're not. As a whole, they serve as an example for the amount of boundaries a television show can break to create an honest masterpiece. Without these previous seasons, payoffs will be impossible. It kinda bothers me that I hear from a lot of people that they just dropped the show because it was too slow or didn't have action like this or this. Some just call it a simple Breaking Bad spin-off that will never reach its standards. But honestly, just calling it a simple Breaking Bad spin-off doesn't do justice to what this show is capable of. It doesn't only create a world of its own and has great characters, where yes, we do get some Breaking Bad cameos here and there, and they share a decent amount of their main cast too, but it also has an amazing new set of characters. Characters that are briefly mentioned or not even brought up in Breaking Bad that are given unique arcs and depth. These characters, I believe, are what makes this show so unique. They're an example of mastering storytelling, managing convoluting arcs, and making the audience care about them. So in many ways, Better Call Saul being a prequel to Breaking Bad creates, by the master development of characters, a constant overwhelming fear, similar to what happened to me with Twin Peaks. There is an extra layer of care to the characters I already knew, but an extra layer of constant anxiety to the ones I didn't. For many, the episode Backman is the best one. It's probably the one with the most action and one that changes the show forever. More than anything, in this episode, Jimmy accepts his past by understanding Mike's point of view. That image that is Saul Goodman gets dirty, corrupted, real. The whole season we have seen an artificial version of Saul Goodman, the same image that is presented to us in Breaking Bad, and what we thought it was the end of Jimmy's transformation was in reality just the beginning. I would say that this episode is where Saul goes from his highest to his lowest. An episode that shows the beginning stages of pain that Jimmy will suffer in the near future. An episode that for many is the standard of a Better Call Saul episode. Although I would argue that the episode that follows, that is season 5 episode 9 Bad Choice Road, excels in every single way what episode 8 accomplishes. More than anything, how it crafts a scene of pure utter tension that feeds from the audience's anxiety and fear towards three main characters, making it the closest thing to a perfect episode. The episode opens with a song from season 4 episode 7, Something Stupid. In it we see both sides, both worlds that the show presents to us. That is the world of law and crime, the world of Kim and Saul. Throughout this intro we see how one of them is presented to us in pure light, while the other on uncanny darkness. One of them is fighting for their life, while the other is slowly killing it. One of them is out in the open, desiring not to get devoured, while the other is in an escapable shuttle, waiting to be freed. For a surprise, the one who seems more insensitive is the world of law, the world of Kim, somehow amplifying that both worlds aren't as different as they seem. Throughout the episode, visual choices are used to parallel characters' feelings or to show the emotion of the moment. The most evident being between Kim and Lalo, how both find out the truth about Jimmy's situation, that he threw the bullet hole in the car and the coffee mug, which in itself is a visual representation of both worlds violently colliding, a bullet being consumed by Jimmy's world's second best lawyer mug, the most evident. Although we actually see both worlds interacting with one another in episode 8, when Kim and Lalo talk for the first time, which also functions as a teaser for what's to come.
Oh, no, 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 no! No, it wasn't me, it was Ignacio, he's the one! Oh no. Lalo didn't send you? No, Lalo?
But first, let's talk about two characters that were once mentioned in Breaking Bad, but never talked about again, Nacho and Lalo. In one hand, Nacho is introduced to us in the first episode, and it is presented to us as just one of Tuca's many men, but quickly becomes a recurrent character that the writers manage for the audience to empathize with. This is because we feel each decision he makes, and we know that something is going to happen to him. We not only care about him but his family. Nacho is willing to take on his burden and prioritize his father's life over his own. He juxtaposes perfectly to the chaotic nature of the Salamanca family. Nacho's story compels to consider the forces and interplay of good and evil, the concept of responsibility, and the notion that most times our fates are tragically uncontrollable. On the other hand, we have Lalo Salamanca, a sociopathic, impulsive, charming narco. His coifed hair, thin mustache, and purple bottom-up shirt all suggest someone who wants to be noticed and not hidden from the public, a characteristic that is weird enough for a drug dealer, which is why Lalo is almost a disturbing mirror image of Saul. While Saul Goodman is very much a part of the criminal underworld, he still has some semblance of a moral code that allows him to continue to operate within society. Lalo is what Saul could be without that code. He cares only about himself and his family. He serves as the perfect juxtaposition to Saul, just like Gus was to Walter, that is more calculating and powerful version of himself. Lalo is to Saul a more unforgiving and psychopathic version. More than anything, Lalo is unpredictable, and unpredictability is a significant agent of fear and anxiety. Having mentioned both of these characters, I think it's time to talk about Better Call Saul's and arguably the best written and performed character in the Breaking Bad universe, Kim Wexler. Believe me when I tell you that this character represents everything in this show, that it's the most essential piece of this masterful puzzle. In season 1, Kim is solidly in a supporting role status, but in the upcoming seasons, she plays a vital role in the story and, for the audience, gives a reason to care more about Saul's unbearable defeat. If we go deep into Kim's psyche, we see how she always finds the way of dealing the good and the badness of her life. This can be seen in the flashback of her as a child, ignoring her young mother, or when she decides to marry Jimmy instead of testifying against him. Although by the end of this last season, Kim's character changes. She has evolved from a repressed but upstanding lawyer into someone who's now looking an awful lot like a new criminal. Bad Choice Road and the episode that follows are the result of this gradual change.
Is right for me.
And I'm giving you a reality check. This is too far too fast.
And I'm giving you a reality check. This is really none of your damn business.
At the very end of the episode, after Saul and Kim have a heated argument, someone knocks the door. Saul receives a call from Mike telling him to hide the phone, and then Kim opens the door to find
Hey guys.
Lalo, presented to us in an anonymous light. Then, the first thing that Lalo does is to tap the fish tank. This means two things. The first is to enhance the tension of the phone literally being centimeters away, and the other that it represents Lalo entering Kim's world, for what the show is the low world emerging with a criminal. Jimmy reminds us that Kim shouldn't be there, constantly telling Lalo to let her go. Throughout this whole scene we see a presence of shadows and darkness in Jimmy's face. Notice how Kim is still on the light. She tries to get into the conversation but gets silenced by Lalo. The tension of the scene keeps escalating, as Lalo tells Jimmy to tell him the story of the desert over and over again. Lalo knows that something's up, which is why he's still tapping the fish tank, still being this threatening presence. We cut to a shot of Mike, who suddenly is with a rifle, seeing the whole conversation from far. We cut again to Lalo, this time his gun is present in the scene. Kim enters the conversation again, this time she's aggressive. She gets on Mike's aim way. It's not until Kim points out that Lalo seems not to trust his man, that he has big problems to trust Saul Goodman when $7 million are on the line. After that small comment, Lalo is finally silenced. Jimmy is petrified. Unlike Saul Goodman, Jimmy is scared. Unlike Kim Wexler, Jimmy knows what the cartel is capable of. But to his surprise, Lalo exits the apartment. He gets in his car and leaves with Nacho to Mexico. The reason why this episode is so great, and I call it the perfect episode of Better Call Saul, is because it puts all his cards in the table. It doesn't necessarily play them the way we think. It uses expectations to play with the audience. The show knows that, unlike Jimmy, we know nothing about Kim's ending. Nacho is also present in this scene, another character who we don't really know his fate, and Lalo being a character that from the get-go, we know is going to hunt Saul Goodman till his Breaking Bad days. Gilligan Gold and Thomas Schnatz, the director, strategically crafted this scene to create an utter and outgoing tension that will probably stay till the show is over. This is why each season, the intro gets closer to black and white, closer to a world of no color, of pure sadness and grief, closer to a tragic and unstoppable ending.
Say it.
Better call Saul.
What? I can't even hear that.